just want to interrupt this amazing podcast with a brief message about one of our sponsors, Lombardi Chiropractic in Oneida, New York. I found Dr. Pete 8 years ago due to my continual discomfort and pain in my back, and as an active athlete and someone who likes to play hard, my sessions in the gym started to regress. My sleep went downhill. After a comprehensive evaluation by Dr. Pete's team, I was given a detailed treatment plan. After 3 months of care, my body felt amazing. I have used Dr. Pete as my personal chiropractor for the last 8 years and attribute much of my physical abilities and overall health to his approach with chiropractic care. The good news is Lombardi Chiropractic is offering a 50% discount on the initial exam and x-rays to all new members that use the coupon code A is A. So stop trying to self-diagnose and save yourself time and money by visiting lombardichiropractic.com and schedule your initial consultation today. All right, welcome everyone to the A is A Health Podcast. We've got me and Andy hanging out with you today. And how you doing, Andy?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sun shining. It's a bit cold, but happy to be alive, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, it is really cold out there today. Geez, another 3-degree day.
Yeah, we had -5 this morning, so sort of nasty. So we'll jump right in. Really cool, unique episode today. We're going to talk about some books that Andy and I enjoy and have taken some value out of. I know that there are a lot of people, especially this time of year, maybe looking for some good reads and, interesting topics and whatnot. So yeah, ready? We'll dive right in, Andy?
Sure. Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, cool. So the first one I want to bring up is The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle.
Oh, great book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You read it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when we were roommates many years ago, I read your copy of it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
The Talent Code, it says greatness isn't born, it's grown, and here's how. The big thing that I took away and will never forget with this book was there was 2 numbers that the author put out there. 1,000 hours of practice within a certain art or skill set is proficiency, like you're just getting to be competent with it. And then 10,000 hours is mastery. 10,000 hours. And so I don't know, I could talk about that for a long time, but that's a lot of hours. Yeah.
So. Now was the Talent Code, is that the book too where he takes a look at certain populations of people where there's like a surprising amount of talent comes out of a certain area? Like, why does Brazil produce all the best soccer players in the world, or why does this area of Canada produce all the best hockey players, and so on? Yeah, that was that book, right? That was really interesting.
Yeah, he called them hotbeds.
Yeah, hotbeds. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. And it was very interesting because actually they highlighted a school. I think it was in the Adirondacks, a music school. Do you remember that?
That's right.
Yeah. And they were saying how how you could have like an 18-year-old phenom in, say, the violin. But what you don't know is since age 4, that person has played 6 hours a week since age 4. And now at 18, they're a phenom, but they already have their 10,000 hours,
Right.
So they're a master. So yeah, like I said, it's a constant reminder to me with whatever I'm pursuing or trying to learn that, it just takes a lot of time just to be even competent. 1,000 hours is a lot of time. I'm 3 years into jujitsu and I'm only at about 650 hours based on the number of classes I have. That's 3 years of a lot of training. So I'm not even there. So
I think the big thing I took away with that book, I'm trying to think back to when I read it because it was so long ago. But did they talk about deep practice in that? Was that one of his concepts? Yeah.
Yep.
And just how much more you learn and how much more skill you can build if you're practicing in a way that's very intentional and focused, as opposed to like kind of half-assing your practice or whatever. And some people, I don't remember how he describes this in the book, but some people are able to tune in to where they're like 100% focused on what they're doing and they're just 100% in it, as opposed to being distracted by other things. And that deeper practice is what propels them to higher levels of, mastery.
Yep. And the deep practice, I think he emphasized too, that it's not fancy at all. Like it's plain, like it's the practice itself is not like bells and whistles. It's just straight up practice in the trenches. And
Right.
I think a lot of society today is looking for like entertainment and sort of the bells and whistles, which isn't really going to get you, too far long term.
This reminds me of another book. I hadn't even thought to bring this one up, but the book Mastery, which I know you really like that book, right? Did you read that?
Oh yeah, with is it George Leonard? I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's
And
an
that's
older book, right? It's an old
yeah.
book.
Do you
Hmm.
remember anything about it? I feel bad bringing it up on the podcast because I loved that book, and
Hmm.
I'm sure if I opened it up and started rereading it, it would come back to me really quick. But
Hmm.
that's another one.
Hmm.
It's been so long since I've read it that I don't have
Yeah.
anything to say about it right now.
Well, again, this is for this podcast, just recommendations. Like it goes along with the talent code to some degree, but
Uh-huh.
it's an older book, and it's a very short read. But yeah, it really emphasizes just in the trenches, long hours of repetitive motion, essentially, whether it's mentally or physically. But both those books would be great for people that really want to become any kind of practitioner in any area. It could be fitness, finance, construction, gardening,
Oh yeah,
rock
this
climbing,
this is just whatever area of life you want to become better at. Yep,
for
these
sure.
things are going to help you. Man, I wish
Yes.
I could. I wish I makes me want to reread Mastery now
I
because I
know.
can't remember anything about it, but I remember it being incredible when I read it.
Yeah, let me see, because this is worth mentioning. We've got plenty of time. So yes, Mastery by George Leonard. Um, so write that down, everyone listening. It's called The Keys to Success and Long-Term Fulfillment. It has 5 out of 5 stars. And let's see here. Says whether you're seeking to improve your career or intimate relationships, self-esteem, or create harmony within yourself, this inspiring prescriptive guide will help you master anything you choose and achieve success in all areas of your life. And it goes over the 5 essential keys to mastery, the 3 personality types for overcoming obstacles. Do you remember that? The personality types?
Isn't that crazy? I don't. Do you?
Yeah. I don't remember them in detail, no, but I remember reading it and laughing because I was definitely one of them.
Okay. I'm sure I was too. I'm sure
Yeah,
I saw myself in one of them, but
for
man,
sure.
yeah, it was too long ago that I read it. It's just funny. It popped into my mind and I can't say anything about
No,
it.
I know, but it's on the top. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that. So there's our first two. Mastery, George Leonard, and talent code Daniel Coyle, Coyle. So Andy, what do you got on your end?
I just wanted to take a quick break from this episode to tell you about one of my all-time favorite supplements, collagen protein. I've been taking collagen for over 15 years, and I consider it a staple in my daily health routine. Collagen is the primary building block of connective tissues, such as hair, skin, and nails, as well as ligaments, tendons, cartilage, and bone. If we don't get enough collagen, then these tissues age prematurely, leading to wrinkled skin, thinning hair, and painful joints. That's why I take collagen every day. It keeps my hair, skin, and nails healthy, and my joints strong and pain-free. The brand I use is NativePath. I choose NativePath because their collagen is the highest quality available. It's organic, it comes from grass-fed cows, it includes both type 1 and type 2 collagen peptides, and it's hydrolyzed, which is critical for better absorption. NativePath even makes collagen coffee creamers. I personally use the vanilla creamer, and it's absolutely delicious. I highly recommend adding collagen to your health routine. If you're interested, go to nativepath.com and use the coupon code AISA15 to get a 15% discount on your order.
Oh boy. Well, since we started out with like mindset type stuff, maybe I'll mention Cybernetics, another really old book.
That's in my office. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was boy, that's talking about self-image, right? So it's
Hmm.
kind of a talking about how the way that we see ourselves and the way that we imagine ourselves to be basically
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
manifests in real life. I guess that's kind of
Hmm.
like the brief summary of that book.
Hmm.
I don't know, would you summarize it any differently?
No, it was solely based on self-esteem and confidence, and how you perceive yourself is how the
Mhm.
world will perceive you.
Yeah, yep, yep.
And there was like numerous lists, if I remember correctly, of like positive affirmations or mindset things,
Mhm,
right? Is
mhm.
that, you remember that?
Yeah, it was more his core message that was like super interesting to me. Just the fact that again, like you have to work on building up your own self-image of how you see yourself and how you describe yourself and how you think about yourself. And that completely changes how other people see you and perceive you. But
That's
the way
exactly
that the way he wrote about it was really beautiful. I mean, it was, I don't know, it really hit home in a strong way.
Well, it was written in 1960. It's sold over 30 million copies. And it says, you're steering your mind to a productive, useful goal so you can reach the greatest port in the world, peace of mind.
Oh, yeah, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, no, that's in my office. So yes, that's a home run. And Tony Robbins is on here commenting on it. Yeah, it says it's a classic personal development book. So I know there's a lot of listeners out there that love personal development books. Cybernetics, it's an old one. A lot of times you can find it at like book fairs for like 50 cents. I normally buy it when I find it and just give it to someone because it's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a good one. I want to throw out another one here. Andy, you read this one too. I found this at the Kirkland book fair years ago, picked it up as a joke, and then I actually fell in love with it. Food is Your Best Medicine by
yeah.
Remember that book? Look at this.
Yeah. I was so surprised. When was that written? That's such an old book.
Yeah, the pages are like bright yellow.
We're bringing up these classics with Cybernetics and Food is Your Best Medicine.
Yeah, but there's some of these are the best ones, 1965. It was written Henry Bieler. They've rewrote it and done updated copies. I have like the original. I know most people aren't watching, but I'm putting it in front of the screen. Yeah, this here it's sort of funny how he writes, right? But at the same time, it's pretty spot on, right? You would agree?
Yeah, it was great. And I remember him talking a lot about fasting in there too.
Yes.
Just the fact that, when animals get sick out in the wild, they know to just stop eating and kind of let their body heal and whatnot. He talked about the healing power of fasting quite a bit. Way before, I mean, now it's a big thing. People have been doing it for the last 10 years or so, but he was talking about it back in the 60s. I think he talked a lot about just whole natural foods versus, anything man-made. I don't remember the terminology he used because it was 80 years ago. And the language was a little different. But
well, yeah, the language is different. Like here is a chapter. It says vegetables as do-it-yourself therapy. The cure is worse than the disease. When disease strikes children. But I don't know. I have it in my office. This is another one. There's a lot of like, yes, this makes sense. So cool. And I know you like that one too. So if someone wants an oldie but a goodie, there you go.
Yeah, that one for me, that's not like one that I would necessarily recommend to people if they're like trying to improve their health or whatever.
Yes, sure.
You could, but for me, it was just interesting because I've read a million health books over the last 20 years.
Yep.
And it was really neat to see a book from the 1960s basically saying like what we're just figuring out now. And it's like, man, if people had listened to that guy back then,
yes,
we would have been a lot better off.
For sure. That should have been in the curriculum at schools.
Yeah. So let's another like kind of history of health kind of book. I know you read this one too. Good Calories, Bad Calories.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Taubes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty massive book. I don't know, maybe like 700 or 800 pages or something. I mean, it's quite the tome. Yep. But that one was pretty life-changing for me because it described how let's see. It basically described how the science was manipulated in like the 50s, 60s, 70s to kind of demonize certain types of foods, mostly fats and cholesterol. I don't know how else to say it. But basically just where our paradigm around like weight loss and health went wrong, which is pretty much from like the 1960s through like maybe we'll say the 80s, and so it kind of details how a lot of the wrong-headed thinking that we have about nutrition in modern times came out of like just really poor science back then. And it was just fascinating to learn all that and be like, oh, that's why we think what we think now about like cholesterol is bad or fat is bad or it's a calorie is a calorie, or
saturated fat's going to give you heart disease.
And how the FDA came to the food pyramid, and where all the recommendations come from. If you're curious, like how we're in the state that we're in now, as far as all the different food recommendations and what dietitians will tell you and what doctors think about various foods and whatnot, that book outlines how it all kind of came to be. And it was
Absolutely.
just a fascinating history.
Yes, it blew my mind also. When did you read that? What year approximately? Do you remember? Because I remember vividly when I read it.
In my late 20s, it would have been about 12 or 13 years ago, I guess. So I don't know, maybe around 2010 or so.
Yeah, so
maybe
I was the same. I read it in 2008. Yep, because that was the year I went to the CrossFit Games, and I remember we just moved into our new place in Sherrill, and I ripped through that book so fast.
It was so I mean, it was like an entertaining read. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, because it's written as a story, because it's telling you the history of all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, it's not like you're reading a science book. Like, it's actually like a fascinating story. And the more you read it, the more you're like, you can't believe how events of the past shaped the way that we think about food today, and how wrong a lot of it was, and how messed up we are today because of those events.
We want to thank Suttmeier Law Firm for being a podcast show sponsor. Suttmeier Law Firm has worked with numerous clients within our community for years, and they couldn't come more highly recommended. They offer legal advice and representation for a range of residential and commercial real estate law issues. Are you buying a house, refinancing, having mortgage problems, or contract disputes? The team at Suttmeier Law Firm can guide you through these processes. As a special offer to our listeners, they are offering a free consultation when you mention the A is A Health podcast. Visit their website at suttmeierlaw.com or call 315-363-7777 today.